Well, apologies for the late start. I actually have my daughter with me today, so you may hear a gremlin in the background. This is Dusty Bates. Pull myself up there. I'm not seeing anyone in here just yet, but we'll walk through everything as we usually do. This is office hours for the Commercial Academy's Inner Circle. So if you're a member there, this is for you. You get to ask questions. Sometimes, like right now, I broadcast to, we'll post on YouTube or the public Facebook group, but we do have a private group. There's probably about 50 hours or so of training and all of our personal brokerages, tools and resources, and everything that we use in our commercial brokerage is up there too. If you want to sign up, there's a link down there at the bottom, straighttalkacademy.com. But if you're not familiar with this, this is office hours. We do this once a month currently. It's designed for our members. Anytime you have a question, if you've got a letter of intent that you've got a question on, or if you've got a client question, this is the time when you're supposed to come and ask questions. Currently, we don't have anyone in here to ask questions, but if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to post in the comments below, and we'll answer those questions. Now, today I thought I'd go over a little bit on client management. Specifically buyer client management. And usually I'll go over a topic in office hours, and then anyone who has questions can ask them. And if not, we just go over a topic, and then we shut down if we don't have any questions. So we'll see how this goes. Now, when you take on a client, this is a client who, first let's talk about 1031 exchange real quick. So this is a client who is in an exchange. That's mostly what I do is help people in exchanges. 1031 exchange, essentially, if you're not familiar with, this is just a quick run through of it. If you look here, when you sell a building, the profit needs to be taxed, right? Capital gain tax. However, in a 1031 exchange, you essentially roll that forward into the next purchase that's still due at some point, but you'll roll that forward. So if you look down here, in a normal sale, you would, in this example, 16.5, about a $6,500,000 profit. Estimated tax is about 2.275. So if you were to sell it, you would have 14 or so, 14.2 to reinvest into something or put it in the bank or whatever. However, if you exchange, you get to use that deferred taxes as part of your purchase power in the future. So most people will do an exchange when they sell a building because they don't want to pay the taxes. And there's also usually what's called a depreciation recapture. So the one exchange has a timeline that you need to go on. There's a couple different types of exchanges, but generally this is how it works. The day you sell is day 0. You have 45 days to identify the replacement. So whatever you're going to buy with the funds. Now the funds have to be in a third party. It's called a third party intermediary is what it's called. IPX is a fantastic group. I would definitely recommend them. But you have 45 days to identify, and then a total of 180 days to close the property that you're replacing. So that's just a real quick example on 1031 exchange. So I have an example that I'd like to go over. I have a fantastic client that I've been working with for a couple of years, helped him with some loans and stuff, placed some money, and he wanted to sell a warehouse of his. And just ethical point, I could have probably talked him into letting me possibly list this thing, $4 million warehouse. I don't do warehouses, so I definitely put him in the hands of a different agent who does warehouses. In this market, I probably could have listed it, probably could have sold it. There would not be really any difference, but just as an ethical point, if you don't do something, don't take the listing. Recommend the client go where they're going to get the best help they possibly can. However, what I do very well is exchanges. So we're now working on his exchange. So if a client comes to you and they've got a $4 million exchange, they've got 240 or so in net income, what do you do? Right? What do you do when that happens? Well, a couple things. The first thing you're going to do is ask questions. A client will usually tell you one thing. And they're not meaning to deceive you. They probably, you kind of need to dig into what their actual goals are. What are their real needs? They might say, I need to replace my cash flow, right? But they maybe have a different idea of what they're actually needing. Maybe what they need actually is security, or maybe they had a property that's pretty heavy intensive on the management. Maybe what they really need is peace of mind, something secure and stable that they can set and forget, and they can retire and spend the time with their grandkids. So you need to ask them different questions and ask them the questions in different ways so that you can get to the bottom of what they actually really want. Okay, not what they tell you. And they're not doing that on purpose. This tends to be how, they may not really know what their actual goals are deep down. And so your goal is to kind of uncover that. And then you need to set some expectations with them. Don't just say, okay, I want to replace my income. Here's the money. And you say, okay, I'll talk to you when I have something. No, you need to sit them down and say, okay, so here's our game plan, right? You need to put a game plan, because they're going to be nervous, right? If you just do that and you walk away and then you come back later, they're not, what is he doing? What is she doing? I don't know what they're up to. You need to have open communication, set the expectations. And so when you sit them down and say, look, and what I do is what we call the 3 property rule. Say, okay, here's your criteria. Here's what we're going to kind of target or look for. You're okay with this type of property. You're okay with that type of property. I don't want to manage stuff. I do want to, if I'm okay if I get more income and I have to manage it a little bit, or whatever that is. And so we do the 3 properties. We say, look, I'm going to send you 3 properties. And you're going to tell me what you don't like about them. And if you like them, then we're going to offer on them. But you need to tell me exactly what you don't like about them. And we're only going to look at 3 at a time. I'm not going to send you 3 and then send you 3 more and send you 5 more. And then we're going to have a pile of 15 that we've either not really talked about or not really disqualified, right? So you need to send them 3 at a time and talk to them about those, right? So talk to them about why they don't like option 1. Because they'll say stuff like, I don't like those. Well, what don't you like? And it's going to force them to really dial into what they actually are comfortable with and what they're nervous about. Because they will be nervous if they're going into a different product type, especially. But they'll be reluctant to tell you, usually. And you need to identify that as well and help them along with that. And it's okay for them to be nervous about it. But that's what we do. So that 3 property rule, we're going to send you 3. I need you to tell me what you don't like about them. We're going to disqualify them, and and we're only going to have 3 in front of you at a time. If you have one you like and we're offering on, we're going to have 2 others that we're going to be cycling through. So we've got one we're working on a contract on, and then there's always going to be 2 others cycling around. So we can have at least the one and then possibly a backup if we need to. And then everyone's focused on their goals. And then deliver. So this client, let's see here. This is probably what we're going to end up doing. This client sold building about $4 million. Net income was $240. Our goal was to replace with $240, but also we specifically want tax-free states. We specifically, this was a benefit, but there's a depreciation factor to it. And the reason, and we'll keep searching. Again, we've identified these. We're going to keep cycling through another one to try and find a better one. But likely, this is a good fit for this client. He's going to end up with about 3.8 in cash. So this is a very good fit. But what he's also got is the opportunity with interest rates so low. Now, we haven't talked about this yet, but he's going to be able to pull out some if he wanted to, pull out $1 million and place it in another or 3rd building after close. And he could reach $240,000 cash flow per year, or likely more. And if he does pull some money out, his actual return will go up even farther because there'll be principal pay down on that money. The interest rate is going to be a delta between the interest rate and probably what he buys, right? So if his interest rate's 3, you buy something at 6, you got a delta there where you're not only paying principal down, but you're probably getting more cash on cash return. So this would be a good fit. Hopefully this helps. I don't see any questions. So that was really all I wanted to discuss. Here, let me see. I just noticed my banner's up. Looks like we didn't block anything. Good. That's all I really wanted to talk about is here's a real life example. This is a real client that we're working with, a fantastic client. And that's how you typically handle a buyer. If you have any questions, again, this is designed specifically so that if you have questions, put them in the comments below and we'll answer them. We're usually pretty quick. This has been Dusty. We will see you next month.